Every clothing brand owner wants to grow their clothing brand fast, but not a lot of them actually know how to grow their clothing brand the fastest way possible. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how one of my students at 16 years old made 10K in a single month and grew his clothing brand insanely fast with a simple strategy. Before I get into that, my name is D. I'm 21 years old. I scaled my clothing brand past 500K in 3 years, all organically, and I also helped a lot of your favorite influencers. Without further ado, let's get into this game. So this student is named Elijah. He's a young guy. He joined my program, I want to say 2025-ish, and he was very hungry once he joined the program. But he had one issue. He really just wasn't growing, not getting enough eyes on his brand's products, right? So obviously, if you're not getting eyes, you're not going to be able to convert and get sales. Where attention goes, money flows. So basically, I worked with Elijah to number one, establish a brand identity and also build out a content strategy. But let's talk about the metric that Elijah used to grow so fast, faster than brands that have been building their brand for 6 months plus. He did one crazy growth input. That's the sentence. One crazy growth input. And I'll explain exactly the one he did. So, a growth input is basically something that grows the business, a move that attracts more customers because customers obviously grow the business. So, that could be posting content, that could be telling people IRL, that can be cold DMs, that can be anything that's getting new people to follow the brand or become aware of the brand. Elijah specifically created multiple TikTok accounts, not one account, not two accounts, not three accounts, not four, not even five, not six, not seven, not eight, not nine. I think he had 10 TikTok accounts, and I'll put up a screenshot so you guys can see it. And on these TikTok accounts, he was posting multiple times a day, multiple times a day, multiple times a day. It was at the certain point where Elijah would average 10 posts a day throughout all his accounts, plus his Instagram account. And he also was using a little bit of YouTube shorts. So because he was posting so much content, he was able to generate enough eyes to hit 10K a month with his clothing brand. Of course, he needed a good brand identity. Of course, he needed a good product. But even with a good brand identity and a good product, if you don't know how to generate attention, it's going to be difficult for you to sell on a drop, especially without a brand identity and a good product. They just make the process easier. So that crazy growth input with the content strategies and frameworks that I teach my students inside ROC was able to scale his brand at 16 years old, a high schooler, hitting 10K a month. And of course, he reinvested it to ads, grow, develop, scale from there. But that was the point. 16 hitting 10K a month because he did one crazy growth input, just posting multiple times a day. If you guys want to see this strategy for you to be able to do it, I'll explain it like this. Create multiple TikTok accounts. Create five. Start with five right now. Five TikTok accounts. One account you're going to spam slideshows. One account you're going to spam B-roll footage. One account you're going to just throw stuff into, and then you're going to have your main account, and then you're going to have your business account. You want to keep everything professional on the main, everything professional on the business. The rest is for spam to get more eyes. So when you go and do your shoots, you shoot your main video ideas, and then you get B-roll footage and B-roll photos. That's where you let the camera just roll while the model is in motion, and also be taking pictures simultaneously. You throw those clips onto that B-roll account, you throw the photos onto the slideshow account, and then you dump the content in between. So now you have an access of content every single time you do a shoot. This strategy is not going to work if you don't know how to batch content the way I just explained, because you're going to need so much content to actually upload, so you're not constantly posting the same thing inside the algorithm, because the algorithm knows when you're repeating the same exact post. So literally, you doing one crazy growth input can take your brand from 2K a month to 10K a month. Of course, you need to know how to post top of funnel, middle funnel, bottom of funnel. That's the three pillars of content. Top of funnel is to track people. Middle funnel is to showcase your product. Bottom funnel is to build trust. And on that topic, somebody asked me today, why doesn't Gucci post bottom of funnel content? And I think this is actually interesting because that's a great question. Why doesn't Gucci post bottom of funnel content? It's because Google's bottom of funnel existed in 1921 when it was established. Gucci didn't have social media, so the founder, Gucci, had to walk around and talk to people IRL about the brand. That was the bottom funnel content. They don't have to do it today because the brand is well established. His personal brand is so strong that the brand name can be Gucci. So that's why Gucci doesn't post bottom funnel content. But as small brand owners, we need to be posting top of funnel, middle funnel, and bottom funnel. And also your content needs to be qualified. What do I mean by qualified content? It's high quality. The brand identity is being showcased. The ICP is being showcased. If you don't know how to build your brand identity, I have another video on that. Your ICP is your ideal customer profile. What details do you know about your customer profile? When do they wake up? When do they go to sleep? What do they eat? What do they drink? What do they listen to? How do they dress? What do they feel? Where do they spend their time? Once you figure those things about your audience, you can literally go to those places and recreate those scenes with your product. But you just got to figure it out first. And that's the issue. Most people haven't figured that part out. But once you figure all that stuff out, then you just dump out multiple posts after you batched up the content. And that's literally how you can go from 2K to 10K. And that's the fast way for you to grow your brand because you can do it repetitively and it's dependent on you. So let's compare the numbers. Let's say a guy like me posts one time a day and I get 1,000 views, but a guy like Elijah posts one time a day and he gets even 300 views a post. He's going to end up beating me because after he does all his 10 posts, he's going to have more views than me collected just because he posts more. But imagine he's getting 1,000 views too. He's getting 10,000 views a day versus my 1,000. So more people are seeing his product. So more people are going to buy his product because it takes people multiple times to see your product for them to buy it. Not a lot of people just see something and instantly buy it. They want to know more about it. They want it to pop up a couple more times. That's why we run retargeting ads for the people that are scaling. But I know I'm rambling. That was some game, that was some sauce. Do a crazy growth input. One that I used to do when I first started my clothing brand, which sold out my first drop, was telling one person every single day about my brand. One person and getting them to follow it on Instagram. So after 30 days, I would have 30 followers. And I literally did this and it worked. And then we started posting social media content so we grew faster in the early days. And we started our first clothing brand drop. And it was after I failed 2 drops with one brand named Reborn Mindset and another brand named Nightmares. 2 flop drops before I actually sold out a drop. And it's just because I started learning the systems to do these things. You can watch a bunch of YouTube videos, but if you don't know the system, the step-by-step process to follow, it's going to be difficult for you to do it, right? Because it's all unorganized if it's not written down and explained to you the way it needs to be. So shout out to my student Elijah. Shout out to you for watching this video. Test it out. Do a crazy growth input. That can even be going live every single day. I got another student named Isaiah. He's been popping it lately. I seen he just got some pieces in the store that was pretty trending on Instagram in Atlanta with his brand Billionaire Legacy. But at a point in time, he was going live on TikTok every single day for at least 2 hours. I would get on TikTok and see him on TikTok live and feel like I had to get on live. So that was his crazy growth input. His brand's doing well as well. But there you go. That's the fast way to grow your clothing brand. Post more content or specifically do one crazy growth input every single day. If you want me to help you scale your clothing brand one-on-one like I've done my students, DM me the word scale on Instagram and we can chop it up a little bit.